Recording. Good morning, ladies. So I think most of you are Zoom experts at this point. I feel like I'm kind of a Zoom expert, not to pat myself on the back. Actually, I'm not. If you're on an iPad, I still don't know how to help you. I'm just letting people in. This is what I'm going to see on mine. Actually, this is what you should see. So you're going to have this screen spotlighted. That's the screen that I'm going to be showing you everything you need to see. Good morning, Miss Rita. I'm going to be seeing this because I'm going to switch mine to gallery view so I can see more people at once. And I have people on one page, and then I can go to my second page, and I have people on the second page, and we'll probably have people join as we're doing this. I'm going to ask that you remain muted. So down here in the lower left corner of your screen, depending on what device you're on, you're going to have a mute and unmute. I have a warning sign with an exclamation point. I don't even know what that is, but I can't get any audio on that. But I hear you through my phone. I love it if I can see your gorgeous faces, but if you don't feel like showing me your face, that's fine. I have one girl that turns on loud music, and she said she dances when she gets excited. So she never, you know who you are. And so she never shows me her screen, and that's totally fine too. Periodically, though, I'm going to say, are we all together? Did you get that done? And I'm going to ask you for a thumbs up. So you can just thumbs up. If you don't have your screen showing, I'm going to ask you to give me a reaction. There's reactions down here, and then you can point to any one of these. So you can give me your thumbs up that way. So that's my thumbs up there. And I think that's it. Oh, if you need to ask a question and you're on a regular computer, you can mute and unmute using your space bar. Otherwise, thank you, Miss Joanne, for your thumbs up. Otherwise, you can come over here and mute and unmute. If you forget to remute, I will mute you from my side, just so there's not a bunch of background noise and the husband doesn't run in and the dog doesn't run in like my house. They always run in. Patrick always runs in, and he is so loud. And so he'll run in and immediately start shouting, which is what he does. And then Momo comes in to boss me around too, to go, Mommy, love me. And he starts barking too. I was doing a video the other day and he was barking, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is so unprofessional. So then I kicked him out of the room, and then he stands on the other side of the door and barks and runs into the door with his nose to say, let me in. And I just can't help it. I let him in. He's so cute. You know how it is. A lot of you have. They're your fur babies. All right, ladies. So nice to see you this morning. Thanks for joining me. This is, I doubled mine in size. So I have this, I think I still have one in the store, but this is Belle Isle from Moda. And I used grunge for these sections here in paper. And what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and quilt this. And I got the book out. And remember, this is a sew along. You're just sewing along with me. This is not a class. This is free. You get what you pay for, although I hope you get more than what you pay for with this. I haven't done this, but I've been reading through the book. And some of you, who's done clear blue tiles? Has anyone used their clear blue tiles? Give me a thumbs up. So Terry has used hers. And who's JB? Is that Joanne Bell? Let me see. Oh, it is Joanne Bell. Okay. So Joanne Bell and Terry have used them. And is that it? So I got to say, I did use it in the store, but I just made it up. I just went and I got a template and I put it on top and it fit. And then I found the design that was that size and we stitched it out. And it really was that easy. Let me see who, Cheryl, what? I get confused. What machine do you have? Do you have a camera on whatever machine?
I have a Solaris.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't know why I was unsure. So you have the Solaris, Joanne has Solaris, Nancy. Miss Suzette, what machine do you have?
I have a Janami 9850. It doesn't have a camera.
Okay, it doesn't have a camera. So the grids are going to be important for you. Terry, what do you have? You know what? You're muted. You have a space bar? Can you hold down your space bar? Or are you on an iPad or something?
I'm on 550.
You're on a 550. And when you say 550, what brand?
Genome 550.
Okay, Genome 550. So, and Dawn, I know what you have. Rita, are you on a Viking? I forget what you're on. And Miss Diane Reed, I think you have something. Do you have what do you have?
I have a Still Air.
You have the Stellar. Okay, so you have
Yes.
you could use the app if you wanted to. Okay, so let's go. You know what we're going to try today too is we are going to try and do it just with needle drop as well to see if we can do it that way. A lot of your machines will let you do a needle drop and maybe an outline stitch, although I'm not going to know it on all of your machines.
Cora's trying to get in. She can't get in.
She is not showing up. Can you resend her the link? It's right in the Google invitation. Okay, so for the first one, let's go ahead and we are going to do it just the way Kimberbell has you do it. I got out my grids and I was trying to pick out, and let's talk about hoop size, because based on your hoop size, you know, there's so many different ways that you can use your clear blue tiles. And so you can, for instance, when I was looking at this last night, I was looking at it with Patrick and I was thinking, oh, I could use this size or I could use that size. You have, Marilyn just got in, you have little blocks that you could quilt. You have even smaller blocks that you could quilt. So you can grab, you know, like this is going to be my 4x4 block. And these 4.5 by 4.5, once you sew them all together, they're going to be 4x4. So we could go ahead and we could quilt each one of those separately if you wanted, or you could go ahead and you could work in larger blocks. So for me, I have some of these, and not all of them work out where they're going to be, where it makes sense for me to stitch them out that way. You have little corner blocks that we'll use to do like the little corner stones on this. And then, you know, you have this is what, the 2x4 inch that would work on something like the little tree. To me, I look at that and I go, oh my God, that's a lot of work. We're going to be doing all of these embroideries. So if you have the capability for the hoop size, like for instance, if I did this section right here, I could do this one, which is going to be my 6x8, and that would fit in here perfectly. You don't always have to quilt it this direction. We could quilt this direction if we wanted. So I could go in here and I could grab this one right here, that's going to fit my 4x8. And we could choose horizontal and stitch that out. So you have lots of different configurations of what you can do. I don't know if everyone has a hoop that's going to accommodate this. For this one, I would have to be using like my 6x10 hoop or something like that. I did bring my snap hoops in too, because I thought that was going to be easy. But why don't we start off and let's just do something really easy. We'll start off with, because I think everyone could accommodate it. And for me, my inclination is to start here in the middle and work my way out. You know, you could start at one end and work your way over, but I usually will start middle and work my way out. So if we could, I think everyone has, you can fit the 4x6 in. If we did that and we did that in a 5x7 hoop, I don't think I have an up and down. There's no up and down that I can do that. So I'm going to just start off with something like this. I'm going to just find something in the middle. And you know what? Why don't I work here? So I'm going to work in an open block and a tree. Can you give me a thumbs up if that works for you to start off with one of those? So I got a thumbs up from Terry, Joanne, Nancy, that works for you too, Suzette. And you know what? I'm on a Luminaire. Our store sells Baby Lock. Do I have two? Oh, that's Joanne Patterson. So I have Joanne Bell and Joanne Patterson. We are a Baby Lock brother dealer. So that's what we're going to be on here in the store. But we love all of you ladies joining us on whatever machines you have. You're going to need your grids too. One of the things they talked about in the book was they talked about knowing your hoop sizes. So I'm going to just open this up. And they spent quite a bit of time. These are going to be the finished block that comes with this set. And then you're going to have another set. If you got the expansion pack, you'll have other sizes that come with that. But knowing your tiles, so this is going to be important. I really think if we just go ahead and we marked our center and we marked our arrows and then put in your size right here, you also have your corner marks too. So that's kind of how your grid is going to work. So we're going to do this, but we're probably going to hoop it, and I'm going to end up turning it to go ahead and hoop it on my machine. So why hoop size matters? It's in order to accommodate the mechanics of the presser foot and the needle. So your hoops come in all different sizes. So it's just important to understand which hoop you're using and what your embroidery field is going to be for those hoops. We're not going to spend a ton of time on that. Hopefully you're experienced enough with that you're going to be able to find the right hoop that's going to accommodate. We did Janome here for a while too, so I know those hoop sizes are going to be a little bit different for you, Miss Terry, but I think you've already used these, so I think you're probably feeling comfortable. And if anyone's out there and you feel like I'm going astray, just pipe up. This is just going to be girls sewing together and helping each other. I was looking at this, and these are going to be your different embroidery files that you have on your stick. So I was just going to go ahead and keep it simple. I really like the swirls. I wanted a little bit something more than the loops. So I'm going to be using the swirls today, but if you have like the fall table runner pack and you want to use that one, you're welcome to. Winter, spring, summer. So these are different kits that I cut for this store. So if you have any of those, you can pick them. I'm just going to go with swirls for what I'm doing today. Either swirls or loops. I'll probably just do the swirls. I think that's really pretty to me. Hi, Cora. Glad you could get on. So what I want everyone to do is I want you to go ahead and get your USB out. I want you to get your templates out. Let's have all of that. And we're going to go ahead and we'll get started. So I created my quilt sandwich. That was in your instructions that you should have your quilt sandwich. I oftentimes, to be honest with you, and especially if it's a smaller project, I didn't even spray base because I find that sometimes I'll quilt and then I have to lift it up and spread it back out again. So a lot of times I will just kind of spread my fabric. I'll do this and I'll spread it and I'll lift it out. So mine is not even spray basted, but I know a lot of people like to base. I rarely use pins, but sometimes I will. When I have a really, really big project, I'll use pins to kind of baste it down. But I just kind of spread it out last night and did this with my fabric a couple of times and I'm ready to go. Okay. You have a choice of whether you want to do all over quilting, which is like edge to edge, or you do custom all over quilting. The patterns that they have don't have, if you've ever done edge to edge, there's a start and an end. And when you do your next start, you line it up and you have it start exactly where the last stitch out ended. This doesn't have that, but it's made to look like edge to edge when you put it down. It just kind of flows into, it's just flowy patterns that you can place that are going to look really nice all over. We're not going to do that. We're going to work with just custom all over quilting today. Where we're going to pick our designs and we're going to put them in the little squares wherever they're going to fit. And like I said, we'll do something small to start with. But if you have big hoops, I say do a big section all at once. Like, why not get this done sooner than later? Unless you want something really specific, it's going to be adorable. It's just going to take more time if you're going to customize it for each tiny little block. Terry, when you did yours, did you do the all over quilting or did you do the custom?
All over.
You did the all over? Okay. And you could do, what was that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just said,
What's your biggest size hoop?
7.9 by 14.
Oh, good. So you have a big hoop, so you could just go ahead and take these in blocks.
Well, I could have, except for, well, I guess it doesn't matter, but I didn't buy the expansion pack. I just got the original.
Oh, so you don't have the, because that one is going to have the bigger,
right?
The bigger templates.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I guess I could go ahead and use it. I just didn't have the expansion.
Sure. So I say today what we're going to do, we might be using different templates. What template I use might not work for a hoop you're going to use, but the concept is going to be the same. So we're going to go ahead and do some custom all over. But if you do have that expansion pack, let me see my biggest one in this here. Is this going to be my biggest? My 8x10. So my 8x10, I could actually, cover sections like this. I mean, that would be great, right? It doesn't have to, we don't have to have it line up with the seam. I don't think that would make a difference. And we could work, and this would be for me, like 5 or 6 different hoopings with this and then doing the border. If you have the big templates, you could work in sections like this and work and then just move it on over. Which would be really exciting. I think a lot of people are really enjoying quilting with their embroidery machines. I do it all the time and I absolutely love it. So let's go ahead. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to lay the quilt sandwich project flat on top of a large work surface. So hopefully you have that, you have a big area that you can lay it down. We're going to lay the desired tile on top of the project. I'm wondering if, because I'm going to do this one because this is on top of this, and then I can work this section, and then I can go big if I want. I don't want to leave you out. No, actually this will work too. Sorry, I keep jumping around. I'm going to do this so we can actually see the quilting, because then I can do this one separately. And then from there, I can work in larger chunks. So it says to lay the desired tile on top of the project. The arrow on the tile indicates where the top of the hoop should be when hooping your project. So my arrow is going that way. I'm just going to turn my fabric. So I'm going to work in this 5x7 or the 4x6 that's going to fit in my 5x7. I'm going to start that way. That way I know everyone can do what we're doing and we're not going to be leaving anyone behind. I think you all have a hoop that'll accommodate this. Does everyone have a hoop that, just give me a thumbs up if you can accommodate this size. Okay, got my thumbs up. Dawn, Marilyn, Nancy, I know you do. And Cheryl, I know you do. Okay, we're all good. All right. And if you're doing this with us and you go, you know what? I don't want to do that teeny tiny one. I got a big hoop. If you want to pick something bigger, go ahead and pick something bigger. If you want to just stay right with me, then stay right with me. I'll probably do this and then I'm going to move to a bigger one and I can come back and do that one later. All right. So after we've placed that desired one and I have my arrow pointing the direction I want it to be pointing, it says mark the dot in the center and trace the arrow and the inner hairline on the outside of the tile, mark the 4 corners. So you should have markings that look just like this when you're done. And this is really important if you have grids. If you want to use grids, if you have a big hoop and you can go up and over the edge, I mean, you don't have to do all of that marking. This is going to be really important if you don't have that capability and you really need to see it. So I'm going to go ahead. I've got a friction marker that I'm going to be using. I don't know if you read my email. I've heard from a couple of people that the marker that comes with it does not wash out or that it's very hard to get out. So I haven't even tried that. I just heard that and I was like, forget it. I'm not going to use that. I don't want this to be marked up forever. So I'm going to go ahead and do all my marks in here. And then mark here, mark here, mark here, mark here, here, and here. Okay, so we are all marked up. So you have to, oh, and then it wants you to also put the size in. So this is going to be a 4x6 for me. So you know what size your design is. Write the tile size on the fabric through the size window. Each project will need to be marked and hooped multiple times. Place the tile, mark it, and quilt the marked area, or mark the entire project and quilt it afterwards. So we could go through if we want and mark up this entire thing right now. But to be honest with you, there's so many features on these machines, and I'm going to try and show them all to you. So all different ways that you can do the clear blue tiles. To me, this is really time consuming. So I don't know if I'm going to do it like this again. My advice to you is if you have it, to use the double-sided tape. So option for placing multiple tiles on your project. We're not going to go ahead and do this, but I am going to go ahead and I'm going to put it in the hoop and then we'll go to the machine. So what they want you to do is they want you to use your template grid. So let me grab my 5x7 hoop and my template grid, which I found. And now I've lost. Hang on a second. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way. Is it under my quilt? Oh, here it is. It's on my machine. Here's your template grid. So your machines come with this. If you're on a Luminara Solaris, guess what? You don't have these because they're like, why would you use this? You have your camera, projector, and your needle drop and everything else. So when you do use these though, and they come with most of the machines, you have a ABC here. You want to make sure that you're reading that in, and it makes sense that it's not backwards. So I'm going to just lay this down. And this helps you line up. So you just take this. I know I have that light overhead. And I'm just putting this circle over the dot and lining up my crosshairs, my centering crosshairs with the arrows that I just drew. And they want you to, actually, I'm just going to put the bottom hoop down. They want you to take this, roll it up, grab this, and then push it down into your hoop. I found that I did that and it moved on me and I wasn't very good at it. So when I teach edge to edge quilting in the class, what we use is we use double-sided tape, and the Nancy Siemens is the best. It's the easiest to put on. It's the easiest to take off. So if you're going to be using this method where you're going to be putting your hoop down and you want it to stay down there and then you're sliding this hoop under, what I want you to do is I want you to use some double-sided tape. Do not use like Scotch double-sided tape. You cannot get that stuff off. It's like impossible. Let me grab my scissors. You're going to take your hoop. On the back side, you'll put about, I don't know, 3 inches. And you can use this multiple times until it hits the batting. Once it hits the batting, there's too much batting on it. And I like to take that tape, put it on the back, really rub it down in one corner, and then just peel back. And if it didn't take, I go to a different corner. Let me do this corner. And that didn't, hang on. Here, it's coming off here. Get it down. It's usually easier than this, ladies. There we go. Okay, and you can see the double-sided tape on there. I'm gonna put a piece down here too. Okay, and then you have this piece. What's great about this double-sided tape is it's super sticky, but it'll come off when I'm done with it. I can peel it back and it's gonna come off fairly easily. So grid in here, make sure the ABCs are in the right direction. Lay it down on top. I'm gonna stand up so I can see from above and make sure everything is lined up. Take this off, push your hoop down right where the tape is. And now it's not going to slide around when you slip your hoop under, and you can just push it down into the hoop. And it's going to be super precise. It's way better than rolling it up on the sides and holding it and trying to push it in. This is going to keep it where it needs to be. And you're going to push your hoop in and it should be lined up pretty perfectly. I might have to open mine up a little bit. Let me open up a little bit more. I feel like there is something, no? Okay, open a little bit more. If I was doing this and just trying to hold it, it would have moved around so many times by now, but that basting tape will just keep it right in place. Come on. Jeez Louise, hang on. Seem to get it in
I couldn't
there.
get mine in.
What?
I couldn't get mine to go into the hoop. I'm stuck here right now because that's what I had trouble with.
Okay, I'm in. I'm almost in. Okay, I just had to keep opening it up. You don't want it to pop out. So you're going to burp it, meaning you're going to push that inner hoop down. Because the last thing you want to do is work that hard. And once you've done it once, now that I've done it, it should be good. I shouldn't have to keep adjusting it. Now it's adjusted for the thickness of that quilt. So Terry, keep playing with it and just go ahead and push it in. And I'm going to pull out some of those little bubbles. We've done a lot of edge to edge in this store. Honestly, I never do it in a 5x7. We're always working a bigger hoop. And for the most part, I'm using a snap hoop. It's just so much easier. Okay. You check it and make sure that that edge, I'd rather have that inner hoop pushed a little bit in where you see that red rather than have it flush. Because the last thing you want to do is have it pop out in the middle of your embroidery. Go ahead and tighten that hoop up. And if you have a hoop tightener, that'll allow you, I usually hand tighten it and then I'll take my hoop tightener and tighten it a little bit more just to where it's comfortable. Ooh, and it's still comfortable. So I'm going to just keep turning. We're ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and slide this on my machine. Before you slide it on your machine, I want you to make sure you have the right bobbin thread in. I'm just using white because my fabric on the back changes from red to pink to white. I'm going to go ahead and slide this on. I have a brand new embroidery needle in here and I'm stuck on it. Hang on, there we go. Okay, so we have a 4x6. Look at that. Don't you love that? Got a corner in there. Got them out. Fluff your fabric. Make sure nothing's turned under. That's the worst when you do a whole embroidery and you're doing like a baby's onesie. Not that anyone else has done this. And you stitch the whole thing out and then you turn it over and you go, oh, look, part of my fabric's turned under. Wonderful. All right, we are going to go into our designs. So got a new filming arm here. It's a little stiff. I have my USB not in. Let me grab it. So your Kimberbell USB has the seasonal table topper pattern on there, and it's also going to have your designs. You have two different set of designs. So I'm going to go ahead and go to embroidery. Let me set up my computer over here so I can see your lovely faces. I'm going to go to my pocket, and on this machine, I'm going to go to the USB. And we want our embroidery files, IMPES. And I am doing, what was the name of mine? I'm going to be doing the swirls. I'm doing swirls. So go ahead and pick your design style that you want. You have block by block and clear blue tiles. The difference between the two, block by block is going to have all the steps to add batting. So if you've been doing any of the Kimberbell projects where we're pre-quilting, you want block by block where it'll add the batting. We are already layered. So I have my backing, my batting, and my top all together. So I'm going to go into clear blue tiles. So pick your design style, and then I want you to go into clear blue tiles. And then I want you to give me a thumbs up when you're ready to move on. Thank you, Miss Suzette. Okay, thank you, Terry. I got one from Joanne, your thumb is so large. Miss Nancy, are you ready? Oh, we got your thumbs up. Marilyn and Cora, how are you doing? Are you stitching with us today, Cora? Thank you very much. Marilyn, are you stitching with us?
No, I didn't get them quite finished stitching them together.
I was like, I watched 2 different shows, finishing mine up and sewing it all together. I got a lot of TV time in. Rita, I think you're watching, right? You're not sewing with us. And Miss Jones,
I just got home from a retreat on Monday, so things are a little behind.
was it so much fun?
It was
I'm
awesome.
just taking.
I hope you got a lot done at the retreat. John Swan, are you stitching with us? Just watching.
I'm just watching. Thanks.
Okay, Miss Diane Reed.
I'm watching too, Joanne.
Okay.
Jeannie,
Okay, so I know who I need to watch out for, and then the rest of the ladies, because I hate leaving you behind. You know me. I want to make
I'm
sure
just-
everyone's having fun. What was
I'm
that?
just watching, Jeannie. I'm taking notes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Cora, nothing I'm saying is noteworthy, just so you know.
Okay.
Watch the video. Okay,
Jeannie, question. Is there a certain size for the swirls for the 5x7 that you pick or just?
well, what you're picking is you're going to pick the design size that was on the template.
Oh,
So we're going to pick the 4x6. So it's really dependent on the template that you're choosing. So if I choose this template right here, I'm going to be choosing this design size, the 8x12 design size.
okay.
I don't know if you,
On the, am I missing it? Not on there, but on your computer, where do you see?
Oh.
Am I
so they're
missing
going to
it?
have, like, if you look right here, it's going to say 2x4,
Okay,
2x6, 2x8.
Okay, so then.
So are yours really tiny, Nancy? Because you know you can blow it up and shrink them down. Are you seeing them really small?
No, well, I'm not there right now.
So if you're on a Luminara Solaris, or if you're on the other machines, you have to go into your settings. But on this machine, you can just pinch or pull. If they're really tiny, you're not going to see it. You're going to have to blow it up to the biggest thumbnail size.
Okay, all right.
Okay, just stretch with your fingers. Give it a good morning stretch. All right, so I am looking for my 4x6, which is right here. And I'm just checking, because sometimes some designs have a vertical and a horizontal. These don't make a difference. So here's my 4x6. I'm going to go ahead and select that. I'm going to go ahead and set it. And I can see right here that my center is not exactly over that right now. Or let me hit embroidery and see if it goes there. I'm going to hit embroidery. And I am not precisely above that. My machine has a laser guide, like a pinpoint dot. So if you're on a machine that has a W+, so that's going to be Solaris, Luminaire, Destiny, Dream Machine, Altair, all of those machines, you can just hit this button. And I have that little mark that came up. So I'm going to use my move keys. So I'm going to go back to my layout. And if you don't have this on you could just do it manually. Like if I did not have this W+, then what I would do, I'll turn it off. For those of you that don't have a W+, did it go off or on? Oh, it just keeps turning it back on. Don't worry about it. Just for me, I'm going to go into layout. Yours might say edit or whatever you have on your machine. Go to your move keys and I'm going to move this. I have arrows and I'm just going to manually move it over. You can see mine because I have that T. I can move it up. If I didn't have that, I would hand roll. I would just hand roll and go, oh, my needle, even that, because sometimes the variation with the thickness of your fabric, I'm off a little bit. So you should also use hand roll it down. I'm a little bit too high and too right. So I'm going to move it back to the left. Oops, what's my needle? All the way up. So I'm going to move it over to the left. And I need to move it down one. I'm going to hand roll it. And that's perfect. I'm right centered. Okay. So I know my design is going to be centered. Bigger your design is, and if it fills up the frame, you might not have much room to move it left or right. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes, even though I'm doing a small design in my 4x6, maybe I'll go up to a bigger hoop. So if I'm not perfect, I can kind of move it over left or right. We're not going to start stitching yet. You are going to want to go to stitch number 1 and bring up your bobbin thread. If you start stitching right now, you're going to have a big glob of thread in the back, little bird's nest, and you don't want that. So let me go ahead and thread my upper. And sorry to make you seasick. I'm going to thread my upper. And we're going to go to stitch number 1. We're going to bring up our bobbin thread. I did not, hang on a second. There we go. If you hand roll, be aware your take-up lever might not be in the precise spot, so you might have to just make sure it's in your take-up lever. Okay, I'm ready to stitch, ladies. If you're on a Solaris Illuminaire, you could turn on your projector just to check it and make sure that it looks where you want it to be. So for those ladies, I want you to turn on your projector right here. And I just want you to make sure everything looks good so you can see where your design is. And that looks great. I'm right inside of my stitch line. Looks amazing. I'm ready to go. You can only use your projector when you're at stitch 0, which means you haven't stitched anything yet. If you're even 1 stitch in, you cannot turn your projector on. So let's go to stitch number 1. Everyone should have this capability depending on your machine. I'm going to go into this button right here on mine, which is going to let me go forward and back stitches. I'm going to hit that and I'm going to hit +1. That's going to take me to stitch number 1. That's where you want to bring up your bobbin thread. Your machine doesn't usually start right in the middle. So have it go to stitch 1. You can verify you're on stitch 1. Everyone should have a stitch counter on their machine. Once you're there, you are going to, let me show you this part so you can see everything. Grab your upper thread. Mine's white, so I know it's hard to see. And if it's not letting you pull up, make sure your take-up lever is up and pull to the back. And I'm going to hold this. I'm going to push my needle down, needle up button. I'm going to bring up my bobbin thread. You want your bobbin thread to be below your foot. Both threads should be below your foot. If your bobbin thread is above, I want you to thread the hole in your foot to get it below. You're going to hold both of those and you're going to start. Don't let go of them. Hold them both. Hit your start button. Let it stitch about 10 stitches. Then stop your machine and clip those threads. It's doing a locking stitch right now, so you should be okay. I'm going to go ahead and stop it. I'm going to clip my threads, and then I'm going to let it stitch. Get my little scissors. But you always want to bring up your bobbin thread. Anytime you're quilting in the hoop, bring it up. Otherwise, you're going to have all these little balls on the backside, and they're not going to look, you want it to look pretty on the backside too. And that's it, ladies. We're clear blue tile quilting. Let's say your quilting's not quite square. This is an embroidery design. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. So don't feel like you're limited to that size. If your 8x8 square is a little bit smaller and your quilting design is extending over the seam, just make it a little bit smaller before you stitch it out.
Jeannie, did you slow the sewing machine down?
Did I slow it down?
Uh-huh.
I did not. I'm just using embroidery thread. I put a note in there. If you're using cotton, I would slow it down. I didn't realize this. I only know this because I experienced it. I had a cotton bobbin in my machine, and I was too lazy to change it out to a polyester machine embroidery bobbin, which is what I always use. I was stitching and I had regular embroidery thread in the top and I was stitching and my thread kept breaking. So I was like, I'm just going to change my bobbin out and see if that makes a difference. And I put a regular pre-wound bobbin. And as soon as I did, my upper thread stopped breaking. It was the bobbin, the cotton bobbin was causing my upper thread to break. So just know that you can embroider with cotton bobbins. They're not as strong. And so if you do that, it might cause your upper thread to break. And if you want to use cotton in both, you can. You just want to slow your speed down. That's all. And just be prepared for your thread to break. And every time it does break, when you start with needle down, needle up, bring up your bobbin thread so it looks good on the back too. All right, we have done our first quilted block and it looks great and it's adorable. And so let's move on. All right. All right, I'm going to go bigger hoop now. And I'm going to go snap hoop too, okay? So if you don't have a snap hoop, you're going to continue on. If you have only small hoops, just continue on this way. If you don't have the, I think you could probably do this with a trace out. So I'm going to show you some different things that we can do. So I'm going to pop this off. Let's go needle drop, and we're just going to use the outline feature that you have on your machine. So I'm going to get rid of this hoop right now. The next one I am going to quilt is going to be this one right here. And this is going to be, and if you can't do that, just work in smaller sections. This is going to be, nope. Where'd my template go that worked? Okay, where did I put it? We had it. I don't know if you know this, ladies, but my superpower is losing things. Sorry, you have to experience it. I'm going to use this one next, 6x8. And I'll mark this so you can see it, but normally, I don't know if I would totally mark this whole thing, but I'm going to mark this line. I'm not going to go all the way up. I don't need the whole line. Actually, you know what? Well, I'm using a snap hoop too, so I'm not, if I was using a regular hoop, it's nice to have the whole line because it's going to go closer to the edge for you to line up. So I marked, I also have my seam line. This is kind of important because I don't have a seam this direction. So I marked, and this is going to be a 6x8. I think that's kind of nice to put that down. So when you go to look for your design, you know which design you're looking for and you don't get confused. So there's my 6x8. I'm just going to go full on snap hoop. I have multiple snap hoops. To be honest, I don't have the smaller ones. I have the larger ones because I use my snap hoops for quilting. When I'm embroidering, I actually like to use these hoops best. I see the advantage though. If your hands hurt and it's hard for you to get them in, then I think snap hoops are great, but I feel like I get a tighter fit with these. So I prefer to embroider with just the manufacturer hoops. I prefer to quilt with my snap hoops. So I'm going to grab my 8x12 snap hoop. I have my snap hoops in the 10.5x16, the 9.5x14, the 8x12, and the 7x12. So all the biggest ones, those are the sizes that I have. If you've never used a snap hoop before, you can give yourself a good old blood blister with them. So my recommendation when you use snap hoops is to, and I'm going to try and hoop this as straight as I can. I'm not going to go wonky. You want to go as straight as you can, and I'm going to center it the best I can. Snap hoops, you have about 1/2 inch of no-sew on the sides and about like 1.5 inches to 2 inches, probably about 2 inches on the top or bottom. So same thing with snap hoops. A lot of times I'll use the double-sided basting tape. Let me see. See how nicely, once it's used up, it does peel. Well, this has been on here but it peels off a lot easier than other double-sided tapes. Just take your time. There. And then you can just ball it up and throw it away. But it's nice if you're trying to stay pretty square, then I would still use that double-sided basting tape. Sorry. Sorry to make you wait, but you get the full experience, ladies. Alrighty, there we go. I'm gonna put some tape on this, and I can go this way if I want. Oh, I don't have as much room this way. This way, guess what? I'm gonna like that. If I do it this way, the tape's gonna stick right to that batting. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna just take it here. I'm gonna fold it back, keep my finger here so it doesn't move around a lot. I'm going to also fold it back this way, and I'm going to pinch it on the right side. So I'm just going to grab it over here. I know you can't see my hand. My hand's under here. I'll try and fold this back. I'm going to just pinch it over here so it's not moving around too much. Okay, you clamshell it, meaning grab your bottom, hinge it, like treat it like there's a hinge right here. Feel on the top and bottom to make sure you're right above the other one. And don't lower it slowly. That's where people hurt themselves. Just drop it. And I think I'm hooped pretty well. I didn't use the tape. Just take your fabric, pull it in gently. Don't pull it up. It's going to take it off. Pull it inwards. Feel top and bottom. Make sure that your upper hoop is right on top of your lower hoop. Feel around left and right. And we're hooped. Easy peasy, right? Okay. Everything's nice and flat. Sometimes I'll flip it over to the backside to make sure the backside looks good too, that nothing's puckered. I'm going to slide this on my machine. Let me unfold this. Fold this back. I'm going to slide it on. And I'm going to look for a 6x8 swirl design. So let's go ahead and load our design first. So Kimberbell gave you some slap bands. This is a good time to use them so your fabric stays neat and tidy. So you can take these. I also have other clips in the store that you can use, but you could go ahead and roll this up and just take this and roll it around just to whoop backwards. Here we go. Isn't that nice? Okay. So get those out. You can go ahead and use those. I'm ready to look for my design. All righty. I'm going to go in here and say, okay. I'm going to go back to swirls. How are we doing, ladies? Who's rehooping? Are we rehooping, Terry? It's a little tough. Are you ready to go? Joanne Bell's ready to go. Nancy, are you ready?
Yep.
You're
I use the
Ready.
snap hoop works really good.
I know they make it so easy. Miss Suzette, I should forget. Are you watching or are you stitching? You don't have to get up. Don't worry about it. Miss Terry, why don't you give me a thumbs up whenever you're ready? Okay, you're ready. And then who else do I have? Marilyn's watching, Dawn's watching, and I think most people are watching. All right. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to select my design. I'm going to go home. Home's going to clear my screen. Embroidery. I'm going to find my USB, and we are doing embroidery files. Choose your format. And I am doing swirls, clear blue tiles, which means it's skipping all the placement for backing and batting and all of that stuff. And this is good because already my small little brain has already forgotten what size template I'm using. So I can look back over here and go, it's 6x8. I like that. I'm going to go in here, find my 6x8. There it is. And I'm going to go ahead and set it. You've got a button on here where you can figure out your needle drop and everything like that. So first thing I'm going to do is I am going to get my needle above that center spot. And I'm not even going to use my projector, although I could. I'm just going to go into my edit move keys. Well, let me hit embroidery first. I'm going to hit embroidery. Now I'm going to go layout, move. I'm going to move it over. I'm going to hand roll. I'm using my hand wheel and it's perfect. Well, you know what? I can move it down 1 stitch. Remember, your needle's not going to move if you're like in between needle up and needle down. You have to be all the way up. And it's telling me I'm not all the way up. I'm going to hand roll again. There. I'm like right on the seam, maybe like 1 stitch above it. But this is quilting, so it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. I'm going to check my outline and to see where I am. And the way you can do that is you have a couple different, but this is a trace out feature. So if you have this button on your machine or you have something similar to it on your branded machine, I can hit this. Wants me to put my needle all the way up, which I just hit the button. Now I can see my leftmost point. So the top leftmost corner, I'm going to hit that. I'm a little high. I know your angle might be a little different, but I'm a little high there. I'm going to hit my center. So this is my bottom. So I can tell I'm not totally hooped. So here from the side, I'm good. You can see I'm a little bit in, probably about 1/8 of an inch in. So you can use this and check every part of your design. And a look from the, yeah, that's going to be like right on it. So for me, I go, so if you don't have the camera and the projector to check this, you can use these keys here to go, okay, that's my leftmost. But do you see this too? That's the leftmost position of the square that goes around here. So it's not going to go all the way up there, but that very top part might go over that line a little bit, and I don't want it to. So for me, an easy way to fix this, I would just go, okay, I have to do this in the previous screen because I don't have a resize here. I'm going to hit return and I'm going to size it. And maybe I'll just size it down 2 clicks and then say, okay, hit embroidery again, and then do that stitch out again. Now I can go to my top left and check it. And I'm looking at it from this side. Perfect. I'm inside my seam line. So that would be fine. That's going to be my top right, my bottom right. Could rotate it a little bit too. And then this is my bottom left. So now I know I'm going to fit in there and it'll be fine. I'll have a little bit of border and a little bit of room from those seams. So that's an option. So you can always do that too. So that again is going to be right in here. You can also go in here too. That's going to be your needle drop too. Okay. All right. If you got a camera, to me, I would just use the camera. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit my camera button. On the Luminaire and Solaris, I can go ahead and just hit scan. On the Destiny Dream Machine, all of those, you just hit the camera and it takes the picture. So it's going to scan right now, whatever's in my hoop. All right. So it just scanned everything in my hoop. And now I can take that design and I can rotate it. I can make it bigger, make it smaller. So, and you have on the Luminaire and Solaris too, you have contrast. So I can turn my contrast down a little bit. For me, I like it. I like it kind of like that. The other thing I'll do sometimes so I can see better is I'll use painter's tape and I'll put it right on the seam in case it's like white on white and I can't see it. I'll do that. But let me go, whoops, image back on. Let me increase my contrast right to there. And I'm going to rotate it just a little bit this way. So I'm going to close, layout, rotate. And rotate a little more. I'm going to stretch it out a little bit this way. So I'm going to go, okay. I can't do that in this page. So I'm going to hit return. My image will still stay there. I'm going to put size and I'm just going to stretch it a little bit this way. And I'm going to nudge it over one. Perfect. I love it. I'm ready. I'm going to just say, okay. And I am going to go ahead and hit embroidery. I'm going to hit this button right here. And I'm going to go to stitch number 1. Remember, don't start stitching at where it's, don't bring your thread up at 0 because most likely the needle's going to move. I'm going to go to stitch number 1. My first stitch is all the way up here in the top left corner. I'm going to grab that thread. I'm going to do a needle down, needle up, pop up that bobbin thread. He's really tiny. This is a good time to use tweezers. And I'm going to grab that thread. My upper thread is above the foot. I'm going to thread my foot and start with both threads below the foot. So to thread it, I'm just taking my thread and I'm just going to put it down through the hole and grab it. I'm going to hold both of these and hit start. We're ready. And let me grab my little snips and I'm going to snip that thread. So ladies, if you got a camera or if you've got the app, so Diane, I would just use the app or you could use that needle drop. You know what would have helped is if I had used, if I was you, Diane, I would just use the needle drop feature with the W+. I would just shine down that, the little crosshair. Yours might be a dot. Some of the machines give you an option of a dot or a crosshair. And I would just do the trace out with the dot on, and then you can see exactly where it's going, the outline. I would just do that. Any questions, ladies? We're good? Read, Terry, you stitching away?
I finished my second hooping stitching. Now I've got to do the next and view.
Miss Nancy, how are you doing?
Well, I have a question because I took a picture and now I can't get rid of the
Wait,
picture. How do you get rid of?
What
Hello?
did you say, Nancy?
Oh, I took a picture with my camera, but
Yep.
I want to get rid of it. It keeps showing up. How do you get rid of that?
So just hit that camera button and there's an option. It says scan off or on.
Oh,
Just turn it off.
Okay, thank you.
Miss Suzette, how are you doing?
I'm kind of just following along. I have a question.
Okay.
Border blocks can only do border designs and the block blocks can only do block designs.
Wait, could you repeat that?
What's the difference between the border templates and the block templates?
So the border ones are going to be the long skinny ones. And hopefully I'm going to do 2 more hoopings. It'll get me to this side and we can do like one of the little corners and we can do one of the borders.
I have a
So
couple
we'll-
border ones that make more sense for me to use than in the block itself.
Are you saying that you think the borders are going to make more sense?
On some of mine, yeah.
Yeah, anytime you have long skinny pieces, I mean, if you wanted to, there are some borders I think that are long and skinny here. And if you have a long enough hoop, you could just use a border design to go this whole distance.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it really is, there's no right or wrong way. It's going to just be whatever makes sense for your quilting. And for me, it's what is going to make more sense for me to get it done quickest. Because we all have so many different projects. You want it to look great, number one. I think that should be the number one priority, right? That it's going to look awesome. And then what's going to make it look awesome and be fast.
Right.
So I think my next one is going to be, this was 6x8. I think my next hooping is going to be 8x8. So I'm going to go up to my 9.5 by 14 snap hoop. For you, Miss Cora, I think you should go ahead and just use your camera. We can also use the projector, and I'm going to show that to you two ladies. I mean, this is 4 minutes of stitching. Once you get really fast at this, place your design, check your design. This could be a project that you do, in a couple hours. And how nice is it that you can quilt it to yourself? You don't have to send it out. You don't have to put something like this if you have a long arm, that you don't have to go ahead and hoop it all up and put it on the long arm. Like small little projects like this are perfect for the embroidery machine. Especially for people like me that do not have free motion quilting skills. I can do it, but it's not always that great. The end result isn't always that great. But with this, with clear blue tiles and quilting on your machine, I feel really good about my end product. So Suzette, these are going to be your border designs. So you get some really, really skinny ones, but you get some wide ones too. There are some in here that are going to be really wide, like this 4x10. So you could use this as your quilting design to do. It doesn't always have to be on a border. So you have all of these options. It's nice to kind of keep them separated though. But sometimes this might make more sense for you. You are not limited. How adorable is that? I mean, isn't that?
Hoop size better.
If it fits your hoop size better, yeah, use those. But this is what we have so far, and it looks so cute. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do my next hooping. Whoop. You can see all my projects, everything that's on here. I got my clear blue tiles a while ago, so I'm really excited that we're doing this because I did a quick demo, and like I said, I didn't even read the book. I just threw the USB in and measured the square, and I went, oh, this will fit into a such and such hoop. And then we just stitched it out, and I mean, it really is that easy, ladies. Okay, so the next one I'm going to do, I'm pretty sure this is 8x8. Here's my 8x8. And that fits in here perfectly. If you want, you can draw your crosshair. Mine is right on the seam. I have a seam right there. So I'm not even going to draw my crosshair in. I just want to know the size of it. I know that that's going to be 8x8. This is how easy it can be for you. That's going to be too wide. It'll fit in my 8x12, but it means I have to have it placed perfectly. And I want a little more room. It seems like most of the times when I load it up, my design's a little bit, my needle needs to be moved to the right. So I'm going to put this hoop in there. This is my 9.5x14. And I'm just going to kind of hold it down here. Same thing I did before. I'm going to fold it over. I'm going to pinch it over here on this side so it doesn't move. So I'm pinching it over here. I'm going to clamshell it, which means I just like hinge it. This is my terminology, so don't look for that anywhere. Be like, what's the technique for clamshelling? I'm going to clamshell it. I'm checking to see if my bottom hoop is underneath my top hoop, and I'm just going to drop it down. I always tell people when you do snap hoops, you just have to make contact on like 3 sides, or if you're doing a strip, just like these 2 sides. If you had a skinny strip, you could just work right down the center of your snap hoop. And I'm just going to pull in and get those wrinkles out, and they're not. You might have to pull out. So I'm going to pull out on this. You know, pulling out like this is going to make the top flat, and then pulling in like this will make your back flat. And you want the back to look good too. My back looks great. I'm just going to take it over to my machine. And guess what? This time I'm going to use my projector. Oh, we didn't do snowman sticker. Should we do snowman sticker too? You guys want to do that? We would do snowman and then projector to make sure everything fits well. Okay, let's do snowman sticker because this is going to be super fun. But with snowman sticker, we're going to hoop cockeyed. Let's say I'm a little crooked. Okay, ladies. And for some of you, this is going to be a demo. You can see why we love our baby lock and our brother machine so much.
I always have problems with my snowman stickers.
You do. Okay. Well, let's go ahead. We're going to use them right now. We can see, you can see right here, I'm totally not hoop straight. I'm like diagonal. What would make this not work is if I put my snowman sticker and my design extended outside of the embroidery field, it might tell me that, but I think I'm within my embroidery field right now. I'm going to grab a snowman sticker. And what these stickers tell you is, number one, the belly button is the center of the design. The head of it tells you the orientation of the design, meaning if I took the head and put it down on the bottom, it would flip the head of my design down to the bottom. And then these are just your crosshairs to line it up. What this will do is this will take my design, and even though I'm hooped crooked, it'll take the orientation of my design and make the orientation fit my square perfectly, even though it's this way. So I don't have to pay attention to my crosshairs and whether or not I'm hooped straight. I can just slap it in there, slap a snowman sticker on, and let it find the sticker, and it'll move the design. So I'm going to put this on. What I have to pay attention to is lining up the lines of this with the seam of the seams where I have it sewn together. It could be an issue if you're crooked. I have like one seam where nothing comes together right. I'm just going to do the best I can with it. And I'm really lining up this. This is what okay. So my snowman sticker's on there. I'm going to just take it to the machine. I am shocked with the number of ladies that I meet that have this feature that have never used it before. And once I started using it, I was like, that's awesome. Like if I do a tea towel or anything like that, I use a snowman sticker. I put it 2 inches from the bottom and I tell the machine to select lining up at the bottom, centered, and it just takes my design there. All right, I'm going to open this all up. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to find the right design. Now we're doing 8x8 swirl. So I'm going to go home, embroidery. I'm going to go to my quilting files, and I am PES, and we are doing swirls, 8x8 clear blue tiles, because we're just doing the stitch. 8x8. Okay, there we go. I'm going to hit embroidery. And on my layout page or your second edit page, depending on the design you have, I'm just going to hit my snowman. Is it okay to revert to the original position and or angle? I'm going to say okay. Right now, it's going to center my design to my snowman sticker. If I were to do this, it would put the design, the bottom of it on my snowman sticker, which would be way too high on my table runner. So I'm just going to go center, but you have options. I'm going to hit scan. And it's going to scan and it's going to look for that sticker, and then it's going to take my design and place it perfectly on that snowman sticker. It'll rotate it for me. I don't have to worry about how I hooped. I can be a very messy hooper. Only way it might not work is if it extends the embroidery design outside of those two corners, but I think I have enough room. This corner up here, I'm a little close. So it's recognizing it. It's finding it. It's looking for that center. Okay, found it. Rotated my design a little bit. Hang on. It says remove the embroidery sticker. If I hit this button, it'll moves my hoop out of the, so I could just peel it away. And then I can hit my hoop button and it'll move it right back and we're ready to stitch. And I don't need to worry about it. If you look at my screen, you can tell my design, it took it and rotated it a little bit to fit where my snowman sticker was. I want to check it and just make sure I'm not outside of the embroidery field. So ladies, if you have this, and if you don't, you're just going to continue on with the other ways that I've shown you how to do this. We're going to go ahead and we're going to use our projector. And I'm going to check all my corners. Now you move your design with your arrows, your projector with your finger, meaning if I want to see this top corner, I'm going to move the projector up to my top corner. And then I can check it. I'm too far up. Do you see that? I'm going to move my design down. I might have to actually make it a little smaller. There, now I'm inside of it. I'm going to check this corner. Oop, I'm over. So that tells me my design's a little too big. And that could be my sewing. I could maybe not have squared it off well enough. So I'm going to go, okay. I'm going to go to the previous screen. I'm going to hit return to go to my previous screen, edit, size, and I'm going to, let me make it too smaller. Okay, and then embroidery. Now let's check it again. I'm going to check my corners. That's all I'm checking right now. Projector on, that's the little upside down cone. Let me check my corners. Let's go top right. I'm in. Top left. I'm in. Let's go bottom. Oh, I'm up a little. I'm gonna move this back up. Remember, I moved it down. Let me move it up. I'm gonna check the left side. That's good. I've got a 1/4 inch. Let me check the bottom right. And that's good too. So I think I'm good now. If you want, you could just use your camera and you could have seen everything, the whole design on the whole thing. I'm just checking everything one more time. Looks good. I'm happy. I'm going to hit OK. What do we have to do before we start stitching? I checked everything, so I know it's going to fit. Yes, thank you very much, Suzette. We are going to go to stitch number 1. So I'm going to hit this button here on my machine, go +1, and I'm going to bring up my bobbin thread. That way, the back is going to look just as good as the front. Oop. I can reach from the underside. That thread is white on white, so it's so hard to see. I don't even see it. Let me try one more time. See there? There he is. Got him that time. Okay, gonna hold both of them and we're gonna stitch. I'm gonna do one more hooping. I'm gonna do this one over here and then we'll do this border. We're gonna do the border. So I'm gonna do this square, then the border. How are we doing, ladies? Everyone's good. Thank you, Miss Suzette. Miss Cheryl, you getting excited to do some clear blue tile stitching? Hopefully I'm not making it too complicated. I just want to show you how you can check it once you place it. To me, doing all those different, checking it all those different ways, if you're choosing features and you've got it, to me, the camera is going to be the best way to go. Just hit the camera. You'll see the whole design on your fabric. You can size it, you can rotate it. And if you don't have the camera, you're just going to use the grids. Just give it a mark, make sure it fits and stitch away. For you, Miss Cheryl, I would like to see you use your snowman sticker successfully. Because if you haven't, but you know, quite honestly, it's not always the best positioning technique. You've got so many different techniques on your Solaris, so you might want to just do, you know, it's sometimes though, it's going to be the best way to go. For me, when I do my towels, because it's like oftentimes it's a white towel and you can't see where you're at, and that's the way I like to do it.
Well, I had to use the sticker. I was making a book cover for my daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
And the machine said I had to use the sticker for the thickness.
Oh, okay. Your sticker's not going to work if you have your automatic fabric sensor and embroidery on. So you've got to turn that off. That's in your settings.
Well, no, it told me where to put the sticker, and it just had, because it was the fabric was quilted, it had trouble reading the sticker.
Oh, got it. Yeah, there's going to be times where it struggles and it's not going to be, it might not be the best positioning technique to use.
Well, it told me it needed it to fit to do the auto thickness.
It told you it needed it for the auto thickness.
Yes.
I'm not, you know what, sure, I'm not even sure. I wonder if it has to do with the setting.
I don't know, but it had to do, it told me I needed the sticker and where to place it.
Yeah.
And that it had to read it to figure out the thickness so I could put some wording on it.
So then did it work after that?
Once I got the sticker where it wanted it, after a few tries, it worked beautifully.
Oh, okay. I've never had that happen before. I've never had that message where it was like making me use the sticker.
Well, this one, it wanted the sticker and it wasn't going to be happy unless it read the sticker completely.
You know what? I just do what I'm told. So if my machine says do it, I would just do it too.
Well, that's what I did. It just had
Yeah.
problems reading the sticker because they put the sticker right over the quilting.
Oh yeah. You know,
And
I've
it
had
didn't
trouble.
want to stick right.
Shauna and I were using the Snowman sticker, and what we learned was sometimes depending on your fabric, like we had a busy fabric with lots of lines and it couldn't recognize it. And we didn't understand or get it at first. We were like, why won't this work? And then we did it on something that was just like plain and solid, or it just was like tone on tone and it worked instantly. And we were like, wow. So it doesn't recognize the sticker depending on your fabric too. I don't know if it had anything to do with that.
No, it was because it was placing it right over a diamond that I had quilted. And you couldn't get the sticker flat enough for it to read.
Oh, was it like pushing it up?
Yeah.
Yes. So there are things that are going to affect your use of the sticker, like thickness of fabric, how busy the fabric is, lighting in your room. So there are things that make it where, you know, it can be really challenging. Okay, done. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to stitch out that last side, and then we'll go ahead and do the cornerstones and some of that border. Come on over here. But how cute is that so far? I just love it. I love quilting in the hoop. It is one of my loves. So now we have this. Doesn't it just look adorable? I just love it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this section right here. Let me grab some snips and just cut that thread away. If I can find them. And I cannot, so we'll just leave it. I'm going to go ahead. Like I said, I like using the hoops that's just the right size for what we're doing. And I'm going to go back because I think this left side is going to be will fit in my 8x12. And I put this on here. Isn't it cute?
It's so cute.
Love it.
The embroidery is so cute. The quilting is so cute.
This quilting is so cute. We say that a lot here. We're like, oh my God, it's so cute. And when we say it, we use that like high pitched. We use that like high tone, high pitched intonation. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pinch it on the right side just to hold it in place. And then I'll put my bottom hoop on. And you know what? You don't get as bad a blood blister when you're using the snap hoops and it's a quilt, just because there's all that thickness. It's not like it gets you when you're like using like one piece of stabilizer or something like that.
Who's in the dog bed? Is this to go out?
There's a whole box that should be down there that it should all stay together.
Okay, is that with the leather?
That's all Erica's stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I know I'm in a 6x8. I'm going to forego all that marking just because I am going to use my camera. I think after using all those different ways, the camera is the best way to go. If you are using your templates though, you're going to mark everything and you're going to hoop it just like we did with the very first one. That way you can get perfect placement. So I'm going to go right here. Oh, you know what? I do want to mark my center though. For me, center mark is enough. Wrong template. 6x8. Here we go. This is the one I want. I just want my center because I know that I want it. It's going to be perpendicular to this. And I'm going to use my camera so I can just like make it go inside that area. Let's do a little fabric management over here. And always fluff it and just make sure nothing's folded under. There we go. All right, we want 6x8. So I'm going to go down here, swirl, change to a larger frame. Okay, if this ever happens to you, it's just this design is too big for the frame that I have on here. It recognizes that. I'm just going to slide it down a little bit. As soon as I slide it down a little bit, that message is going to go away and I can do whatever I want to do. So I'm going to go home, embroidery. I'm going to go to the USB, embroidery files, PES, and swirls. We could do something else. I'm going to stay with swirls. I know I'm boring. Clear blue tiles, and we are doing 6x8. Go ahead and set it. I'm going to hit embroidery. And for me, I'm just going to hit my camera and scan. And then we'll place the design. Oh, got to slide my frame back on. And now I'm going to hit scan.
Hey, Jeannie,
Yeah,
does the Stellaire have that camera feature as well?
it does not. So with the Stellaire, you're going to have to use the app. So you know how you have the app where you can take the picture and then you send it. So it's one more step, but you're just going to have to use the app for it. I would show you, but, oh wait, here, I can show you on here. So we put it on here, but if you're using a snap hoop, you have to lay down your hoop that has the markings on it. Let me see if I can get in here. Of course, I don't know how. This is Michelle's phone. Look at me. What's the code for this, Michelle? I don't know what the code is, ladies, but there's an app in here and you take a picture of what's in your hoop and you just send it to the machine and then it will show you whatever's in the hoop. So kind of, but there's just another step involved. All right, so I'm in here. This is what I'm seeing. You can tell my design is way too far to the left. It's going up and over on that side. So now I'm going to go ahead and edit a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. And now I can go layout, move. I'm going to move it over. Let's just see if we can move it over and that'll be enough. But I think I'm a little bit too high up and I'm going to size this down a little bit. So I'm going to hit OK. I don't have size in this page, so I have to go to the previous page and I'm going to go edit, size. Let's size it down. I'm just going to shrink it this way. So my arrows go down this way. And one arrow over, one arrow to the left. I could rotate it the tiniest bit, edit, rotate. That looks perfect to me. I think that looks amazing. And I'm ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and stitch it out. I'm about 1/4 inch from that little part of the roof. So I think that's perfect. We're ready to go. Stitch 1, ladies. So I'm going to go to stitch number 1. This is the center of the design, which is going to hit +1. That's where it wants to start. Don't bring up your thread in the middle of the design. You always want to go to stitch 1. I'm going to hold this in one hand. I'm going to do a needle down, needle up. I like to grab the thread from underneath. That way I don't have to thread that foot. If you don't thread the foot, it drags that upper thread around and stitches it down all over the place where you don't want it to be. All right, after we do this, we'll do the little cornerstone and then we'll do this part right here. You know what? I'm gonna do this part first and then the cornerstones. How easy was that? Just take the picture, make sure the design fits and stitch it out. Cheryl, do you have the stellar and the Solaris? You can just nod.
Yes, I do.
That's why I was thinking, I was like, does she have the Stella? I forgot you have the Solaris too.
Yeah, I've got the Stellar for the Disney.
Okay. And this is just fitting absolutely perfectly.
The difference between the clear blue tile and the block by block is that you just have the design that you'll just stitch on top.
Yes, clear blue tile is just going to be this stitch out, the quilting stitch out. Block by block is going to be placement stitch for batting, trimming of the batting, placement stitch for the background fabric, and then the stitching of then the quilting stitches. So it's everything.
Since I haven't picked my clear blue tile package yet, does the second one have designs in it too?
You know, I have mine at home, and to be honest with you, I was looking at it just yesterday with somebody, and it had the bigger templates. I thought it had. I'm going to look at my computer really quickly. Hang on, because I thought it came with more designs too. So what I'm seeing online is it says that it has 20 more tiles and 2 pens. So that to me would be silly if it didn't have more of the designs. Let's look. I'm going to look in here and see if these designs go any bigger. But it isn't saying that it has more designs. I'm going to go to the Kimberbell site. Let's check there too. Yeah, it just shows that it has the 20 clear blue tiles, but I go, it's got to have designs, doesn't it? Because what are you supposed to put in those tiles? So I will figure that out because I'll go ahead and open mine up and just make sure. Look how cute. So let's go ahead and we're going to do this border strip right here. When I was
Jeannie,
reading-
I think the original pack has the designs that go up to the expansion pack. They just don't include the clear blue tiles. On
That to
it.
me is I don't like that. I feel like if they give you the designs, they should have given you the that's me just
The
complaining.
tiles.
Sorry. Yeah, that's just me complaining. I'm gonna look. Let's see what sizes they have. So if we go into our swirls and we go clear blue tiles, let's see our biggest designs. Yeah, and you have the 8x14, the 8x12, the 8x10, 6x14. So you have all the big ones. So you're right. So Cheryl, you've got all your designs here. And then you did have to get the expansion pack to have the templates. But if we're just putting like our crosshair in the center, I'm saying this because like everyone bought them all and I did too. I have my set at home. You could, if you're not using the templates, if you have to use the templates and you have to get that expansion pack, you could just, there's your design. Just use your camera, shoot it down, stitch it out. But the templates are nice too. So, okay, let's go ahead and we're going to do that little border. So I'm going to get my templates out, choose out the border size. You could just measure. Let's go ahead and measure. The templates are going to be really, really important depending on what machine you have and what your capabilities are in the machine. So I'm going to go ahead and unhoop this. And scoot this over right here. So they recommended using the Kimberbell tape, and you could put a little bit of an edge here and just put that down. What you don't want to have happen, and I think it's easier on the left side than it is on the right side. And that's just going to be my experience from doing edge to edge because of your embroidery foot. What happens is this part of your embroidery foot likes to go underneath the fabric while you're not looking, push your fabric, stitch it all down, get stuck and break your needle and makes a big old mess. This side doesn't get caught as easily, the right-hand side. So if you're going over your fabric and then to the right, it doesn't really matter as much, but the left side's going to make a big difference. So for not the left side, but the right side of your fabric. So if we're quilting over here, and you can do whatever you want, our design isn't going over the fabric. So it's not going to be as bad, but it does kind of pull it a little bit and maybe give you some puckers. So if you want, you can put a little bit of Kimberbell tape. I would use the Kimberbell tape because it's paper tape. It's not as sticky as like Transport. Transport is going to just kind of trash your batting over here. I'm just going to do the design. Well, you know what? Let's do it just to make sure that it looks good. I should show you ladies the right way. Not Jeannie's way, but the right way. I think the templates are good for planning everything out, drawing down that crosshair. You can be really super organized with them. Where's my Zoom window? Let me come back over here. There you ladies are. Hi, Miss Terry. How are you?
Fine. Sorry to catch it just the end. We were gone and we ran into traffic issues, but I'm glad to see this part. Thank you.
No worries. And how's the shoulder? Is it the
Good.
shoulder or the collarbone?
Yeah. It'll be about 3 months before I think I can sew or embroider again.
Oh man.
But that's okay. I can watch.
I'm a strong supporter of the sedentary lifestyle. Although I can injure myself just like falling off my chair. So what am I to say?
I started watching TV. I'm on to Survivor like you are now.
Oh my God. I just love watching TV.
Well, I've always liked Survivor a lot, so that's fun.
Okay, ladies, I'm just going to hoop this up and we're going to do this section right here. We'll measure it out. Let's get out your border templates and figure out which one's going to be the best. I got to tell you, I was not a big Survivor fan. I watched like the first 2 years. I think I watched the year that they had, the original year. And then I watched the year that they had Colby, and Colby lost it to that really cute blonde haired lady. And then I didn't watch it again. During the pandemic, my daughter and I were looking for something to watch together. And I was like, oh, why not? Why don't we watch Survivor? And we binged. It was really more me than her. I binged like every single episode from like 3 to, I think they only had it up to like 41 but I watched everyone. And I wish, okay, so we're going to do right here. I'm going to get out my border strips. I wish that I love Ozzy. I don't know if any of you know who Ozzy is.
Yeah, I
I
knew
love
Ozzy.
Ozzy, and I want him to be in every single episode because they're
Yeah,
my favorite. Because he's
yeah.
he's so good at all that, but he's not very good. I don't think he's got a good game. Like his social game is not great, but he's so good just to watch. I just love him.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
kind of glad about who they voted out last night, though. I didn't really care for him so much because he wasn't pulling his weight.
I don't even know. I didn't even get a chance to watch it. It was on.
Oh, sorry. I won't tell you then.
I turned it on. Sorry, ladies. I'm just looking for the right one. I don't even know. Does anyone have one that fits in here perfectly? It's going to be 2 inches by, it looks like 8 inch. I wonder if it's going to be in our original set. Do we have a 2 inch by 8 inch? I guess I could look in the book and confirm that. Can anyone confirm that 2 inch by 8 inch?
Let me grab mine.
I found it.
Oh, okay.
I
thought
found
we
it. Yeah, here's 2 inch by 8 inch. I am going to go ahead and mark the center of this. And because we have a seam allowance over here, I'm going to put this all the way to the right-hand side to give myself that 1/4 inch seam allowance and do the stitching over here. So I only have my friction pens that are dark. Wait, do I have a white pen? Do I have white? I don't have white back here. So make sure you have something that you can see on dark fabric too. I usually have a Choco back here. No? Okay, I'm looking on my walls. I don't see it. How about we try orange? I'll just try and pay attention to this. Oh, I can see it. You might not be able to see it, but I can see it good enough. Okay, there's my 2 by 8. Let's go on over here and load it on the machine. Check your back too. Make sure the back looks good. I always kind of turn it over when I hoop, make sure nothing's flipped the wrong way. And then when you do the other part of your border, you're gonna pick the border that lets you cover the most amount of area at once. Do as few hoopings as you can. All right. And I'm gonna go ahead. Let's go in here. I'm gonna go back. Return. Let's go to borders. Embroidery files. Yes. You just created pink. They discontinued the pink. That's the pink they have now. Okay. Yeah, you can't even get it. Border swirls right here. And I am looking for my 2 by 8. So I think that the 2 by 8 is going to be in my regular ones. I think that's why I couldn't find it in that set. So I'm going to go back. Embroidery files, PES. I'm going to go into my regular swirls because I have a 2 by 8 template, but I didn't find it in there. Let's see if it's in here. It is. Kind of confusing, but now you know. There's my 2 by 8. Go ahead and set it. I am going to go ahead and just use my camera. I'm going to do it here so I don't have to switch back and forth. Scan. If you don't have this feature, you're just going to use your needle drop. Find that center of the design and just stitch it. And if you're finding that you don't have the camera and you're finding that the design is consistently a little bit too big, you'll know. So maybe it's just you're going to click it down to in size. You're going to make it 2 clicks smaller and then it'll fit right. But I've got that camera. There's my design. I'm just going to go ahead and hit close, edit, move, and I'm just going to move it to the left so it fits. Looks like I'm going to have to move it up a little bit too, and I might have to rotate it. Move it all the way to the right, and I am going to rotate it. That looks perfect to me. You know, I'm going to squeeze it down 1 click, make it just a little bit smaller because it's close to those taps. That looks perfect to me. So that's what my stitch out's going to look like on my fabric. I'm going to hit embroidery. We're going to go stitch number 1. And let's go ahead and bring up the bobbin thread. So I'm going to hold my upper thread, needle down, needle up. Now you can probably see that thread on that dark contrast. I usually like to grab it from below because the bobbin thread comes with it too. I'm going to pull my bobbin thread long, grab both of these, hold them in one hand. Otherwise, they still can like rat's nest a little bit on the back side and let it stitch. Easy peasy. And Cherry, like in the beginning, we showed, we did it with the grids. So if you have grids, we showed how to do it with the grids and get everything lined up really nicely.
Yeah, I've done it with the grids, but I did it like when I did a snowman pillow that they were doing on a special site, and we did all of this like 1 block at a time, not one whole quilt like you're doing quilt front like you're doing now.
Yes. I just go, okay, I don't know if I could sit and do the 2x4 and the 4x4. So we are doing bigger chunks. Our very first block that we did 2 of the blocks and we did it in a 5x7. So we did 2 blocks at a time.
So what we did is we would stitch out the quilting design
behind
before we did the applique.
Yes.
That's all I've done. So I wanted to see how you did it this way with it already, all the applique done first.
Oh, got it. Yes. So that's what we've done for most of our like spring shower and everything. We're doing the pre-quilting and then the embroidery design. So this is going to be something like if you piece a top and then you want to add the quilting when you're all done, it's going to go over your pieces. So let's go ahead and let's do a little corner too. So I'm going to go ahead. I think my corner is going to be a little bit too, I don't think I'm going to have enough room. You remember you have no sew. So let's go ahead and just choose a corner. And normally I work all the way. Don't hate me, ladies, but I do want to do that later because I do want to work from the center and then go out. We did start from the center and we did all the quilting to the left. Well, you know, it shouldn't make a difference, right? Let's do that. Let's do that little corner just so you can see where the corners are. Because there is a folder for the corners. I think it's going to work out and it's going to be perfect. I'm going to clip some of these threads, but isn't it looking great? I just love it. So here we go. This is what we have so far. And of course, I've made a big mess. I'll show you the back of it.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, we started here and then we worked all the way out. And then I'll go back to this one. We started with this 5x7 and we did all the markings just like it had us do in the book. And then we did one just with our needle drop and checking our position. We did one with the snowman sticker, and then we've done everything with the camera from here on out. When I do the next side, I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to go as big as I can with my hoopings. Like this one, I don't even know what I can fit that. Can I fit it in my... Yeah, I think I can fit from here all the way. Mine doesn't have a perfect seam that goes down until it goes. Yeah. So I don't care. I'm just going to go ahead and I'll do this whole section next, which will probably, you know, it won't be perfect, but it'll look seamless when I put the next one on. So, but yeah, because I go, you know, it's nice to do each little square, but they're so tiny, and I'll be able to do a huge chunk all at once. All right. I will do one of these little corner ones. And I think this is just going to be 2 by 2, and you can just measure with your ruler, but I'm going to go ahead and hoop this up. Let's do that little one right there. I don't know if the tape made a whole lot of difference. It probably made a little bit of difference. I guess we could. I'll just put it
Jeannie,
here.
did you spray to baste your 3 layers together?
I did not. Last night when I was layering everything, I just smoothed it out, and I smoothed it out another time, and I smoothed the back and I smoothed the front, and I didn't end up basting it. So
Okay.
sometimes I base, sometimes I don't. It looked great without all of that. It's just a small project. If it's like a bigger quilt, I usually will pin, and then I'll just
Okay,
move my pins as I go. But it's really a preference.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to do that little cornerstone there. And then I think that's going to be it, ladies. I think you've got enough where you can go ahead and do this on your own, but let's do the little cornerstone. I'm going to smooth out my fabric. Let me check the back too. Make sure the back looks good. Sorry, just hit the camera. I'm going to load this back onto my machine. Is that Lisa? Lisa, I think it'll be here next week. It's the Falling in Love.
Okay, is that what you're calling?
Yes. Okay, let's find our design. Let's go. I am all out. We just used it for the Liberty pillow kits. Sorry. I ordered more, but it won't be here till next week. All right. I have big ears, ladies. I hear everything in the store. We're going to go in here. Let's go into PES for me. And then you have your bitty blocks. So go ahead and hit your bitty block. And I'm going to go clear blue tiles. And these are our bitty blocks. So we have, and I can make this a little bit smaller, our hat, our little flower, swirl. I think I'm just going to keep going swirl. So I'm going to do that one, set. And, if you have hats, they have an orientation. So I would mirror image them and make them make sense so they look good in all your corners, but whatever you want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and let me just take a picture, and I'm going to place. And if you don't have this, you can mark it, and then you just use your needle drop. Does that make sense? As long as you're pretty centered, you could just mark it. If I wasn't going to do this, I could just hit embroidery and then just go layout, move. And while you're looking at this, if you've marked your center mark, you can just move and find the center. I didn't even mark my center, but you would just kind of do this. And how easy is that too? As long as you have it marked. Mine is not. So since mine is not marked, I'm going to use my camera. I'm just going to go ahead and hit my camera button. If you're on a Stellar, XJ1, XE1, Meridian, Altair, then you would use your app. You would take a picture with your camera, send it to the machine, and then it will load whatever is in your hoop. All right. I have my image right here so I can see. Sorry, why isn't that? And I might just go ahead. I'm going to hit close, layout, move. I'm just going to move it over to the right a little bit, right and down. Because remember, you have a 1/4 inch seam allowance on the very left and the very top. Perfect. I'm good. Okay. I'm going to go to stitch number 1. Always bring up your bobbin thread. Let me bring up my bobbin thread and then we'll stitch it out. I'm going to hold my upper thread in one hand, needle down, needle up. Going to grab my tweezers and grab from underneath the foot. Oh, I just moved my fabric. I'm just going to hold it there because I just want it to stay nice and taut. So I'm holding actually my batting and kind of pulling that tape over. And now it should be good. Any questions, ladies? Miss Nancy, how'd you do today?
Good, did good.
Excellent. Miss Joanne, were you stitching? How'd you do? I think you said you used yours. Okay, thumbs up. Miss Suzette, you feeling comfortable and ready to jump in? Excellent. Miss Terry, how'd you do?
I'm finishing up. I've only got 2 more hoopings left and I'll be done with it.
Oh my goodness, Miss Terry, good for you. We can finish this up and you won't have a UFO sitting there. Miss Cora, are you feeling good about it? Any questions? You're good, Terry? Terry, I'll send you the video. So there'll be other Terry. So Terry Brantley, I'll send you a video so you can watch start to finish. I'll send it to everybody. Rita, you doing okay?
Okay.
Miss Joanne Patterson, you good? And Diane? This is what I see over here. So I was just checking you all you ladies out. I think everyone seems like good. Cheryl, you ready to do some clear blue tile quilting? Okay, I'll finish mine up. You know, when you start it, I'm like excited. So I wish I had time and I could finish this up right now, but I can't. But pretty easy. Yeah, even if you're using the templates, it's going to be easy. Just draw your arrows and your markings, and then go ahead and load it up, find your design, make sure everything's straight, and just stitch it out. We're done, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll send you a video and hopefully I'll see, I think a lot of you ladies are doing spring showers with me. I'll see you Monday morning. Have a good night. Have a good day.
Thanks, Jeannie.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Jeannie.
You're welcome.